Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting edition of Two Men in Black and White, an honest conversation. I'm joined by my partner in crime, Brock and Ellis BG, aka the Uptown Point Guard, and I am your host, Purple Haze, located in the dirty, dirty South down here in ATL. Shouty. All right, Brock, let's get into it, man. It's State of the Union tonight, but this morning it was tariffs, 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 and everybody's going crazy. Because you know why? Because it's going to hit us like a ton of bricks. And it all looks to me like a carefully coordinated effort by our useful idiot from Russia, the Donald. Do you think this is a coordinated effort to just really, because we're tearing down the republic by getting rid of all our government services, and now we're ruining an economy that just a couple of months ago was the envy of the world? Talk to me.
I mean, there's literally no economic reasoning for this. There's no logical reason. I understand the tariffs on China, right? Another superpower. We think that they steal our intellectual property and they don't have any rights to workers, so they can make things for a nickel, right, and then sell them cheap into our market, and we don't really have a free market going the other way, right? Understandable. Canada and Mexico are two neighbors where we're so intertwined with their supply chain wise. We're intertwined with their economies. They're allies of ours. We want their countries to be healthy and working as they want ours. Like, what exactly? There's just no rhyme and reason to it. It's idiotic. The business leaders are out. Warren Buffett's out calling it, warfare, right? Economic warfare. So you have business leaders now finally coming out and saying, this is ridiculous. Is it a Trump ploy to destroy America? He's not going to be hurt by the tariffs. And we know that all he cares about is himself. But he's getting paid through crypto to help people get out of like jail free cards. He's charging $5 million for a private dinner in Mar-a-Lago with him directly. Like, none of what's going on in the economy impacts him. He's got this whole scheme going that's
Right.
lining his pockets. So
Right.
maybe it's Russia. Maybe it's just he doesn't care. Maybe he doesn't understand how tariffs work. That's certainly a piece of the puzzle because he just doesn't get it. Um, but I don't want to try to sane wash and put reasoning and act like it's 4D chess and all that. It's an idiocracy, and it's another step backwards for America.
Yep.
And I love the immediate reaction of the car dealer in somewhere in the Midwest, I think, who said that he was raising the price of one of the trucks on the lot by $20,000
Uh-oh.
today, right? Those handwritten signs that go in the window. So it's like crossing off the 80,000. I think he put it at 100,000. And of course, CNBC and Fox Business were up in arms all day. None of it makes sense. And of course, the scoreboard, the stock market, the world's opportunity to make a judgment call on what's going on or where the U.S. economy is going tanked again today. So clearly, the people with money who are looking to invest it didn't think it was a good idea.
Yeah. Tell me about your friend out there in Iowa sitting at the diner now. What's he thinking? Because I just got a breaking news alert from Reuters, my news agency of choice, and they're saying the gas prices are set to bloom and burst and surge. And you know what? I don't think Donald Trump
So the
is
guy
going.
in Iowa who now just got hit with a 50-cent surcharge on his scrambled eggs. So he's already starting his morning pissed, right? Because the first thing he heard was the waitress saying, "Oh no, it's not $3.99 for that Grand Slam breakfast. It's $4.49 now, right?" So now he's just already, his day's off to a bad start. Oh, that cup of coffee, better enjoy it today at 99 cents because that free refill's going out the window. Because have you seen the price of coffee beans recently? So that guy out in Iowa who also is like the farmer going, I just lost 20% of my revenues last week because of that USAID deal. So I don't know, but somehow, they're still voting to like do something negative about trans people. That's still the most important thing going on in their state legislature. So I just can't worry about that guy. But he still seems to move the needle for the Democratic Party, right? Elisa Slotkin's the speaker tonight for the rebuttal, right? We got to go in the Midwest. It's got to be someone from the Midwest telling us how things are going to be, and so safe
And
to
let me
say I'm not going to be not happy already with the messenger.
Right. And let me tell you something. She better talk to people and not over folks. She's got that CIA background. She can get heavily into the weeds on this thing. And I say, you know, we need a historic response to the State of the Union because the State of the Union is horrible right now. The State of the Union is it's a catastrophe what we're dealing with. I don't know how the republic survives the next 6, 8, 10 months, much less 2 to 4 years. Like we
Do
can't
you
keep up at this
see?
rate.
Yeah. Do you see a unified message coming from the left headed into the State of the Union?
No, I heard Hakeem Jeffries and Jasmine Crockett talking about it was going to be must-see television tonight. So I don't know what that means. Then you have the Connecticut crew doing their thing. And, it just, we seem to be all over the place. There was a 24-hour response from Straight for the People on a YouTube channel today where they talked Black women's issues. Essence Magazine had sponsored it, and they were just getting opinions on all different kinds of issues, from voting rights to women's rights and bodily autonomy, and and again, everyone was calling for an abnormal response to an abnormal regime. I watched for
Mm-hmm.
about 2 hours today, and no one
Mm-hmm.
said, let's give this guy his due and let's listen to what he has to say, because we know it's all going to be BS and propaganda. He's not going to tell the truth to
Mm-hmm.
the American people tonight. He's not even going to mention the
Mm-hmm.
fact that the Dow is down, five,
Mm-hmm.
10 points or whatever it is in the last 2 days. What is it, 1,500? It's down the last 2 days?
Yeah, it's like
It,
1,200 maybe in a couple days, but it's
1,200?
like 5-6%. I mean,
Right.
what? So, did the call? I mean, you said there were a lot of opinions, but like, okay, that sounds like that was a good temperature check on the 92 percenters, right? The black women who voted for Kamala. Like, do they have a sense that they have a leader? Is Jasmine Crockett that is the voice for that group, or is it still Kamala? Is she still considered in the picture, and are they searching for a message, or what's their stance?
That's a great question. I think by default, it's Jasmine. Jasmine is the leader of that 92% charge. But they also have other emerging leaders. Former journalists like Tiffany Cross and Angela Rye are making their voices known. They've got a
Mm-hmm.
great native land pod with Andrew Gillum. Remember Andrew Gillum, former governor
Yeah,
candidate in the state of
Florida
Florida?
lost to DeSantis by like 10
Yes,
votes.
yes. So they've got a great podcast, and they are calling for action. So now I will give it credit to this essence.com 24-hour stream today. They were calling for action. Everyone had a call to action, including those folks who feel like they've been discriminated against in their workplace or their particular institution of higher learning. So they said, hey, we want to hear from you. We had abortion rights advocates on there. They want to hear your stories. So, people are starting to coalesce, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone is starting to realize this is an existential threat to our democracy. And it won't be here if we sit on the sidelines much longer and just wait to see what happens. Because, what Trumpsky has, lined up is a disaster in a bag. I mean, like, and tell me something else, Brock. I thought we had the best intelligence gatherers in the world. How come we can't intercept any of these communiques from Putin to Trump? Like, I know Vladimir Putin is giving him a list of things to do and things not to do. And one of those things on that list was halting the aid to Ukraine. And now you got the international community involved in everything from the global markets to its own self defense.
Well, you ask an interesting question. An interesting thought comes out of that question, which is now that it's like a Tulsi Gabbard, Cash
Ooh,
Patel. Who's in
ooh.
charge of the CIA now? God, I can't even remember. It's such a clown car.
Yeah,
Are the
yeah,
rank? Are we gonna start getting a lot of leaks from the CIA and the FBI, from all the people still in their seat who don't trust their leadership? Are they gonna play the press game and do like you just said and take some intelligence and snippets of it and leak things out there so that the American public kind of knows more about what's going on? It's something we never expect because the ramifications can be so dire, but are we
right.
going to get more of that? It's almost like it would be kind of like an SOS call, right, from inside the house for those that stay around. I mean, it'll be the one interesting angle of the Alyssa Slotkin response, which is like, what is our intelligence community going to do when they have to hand their work to basically leadership they don't trust and don't think is acting in America's best interests, right? That gets really like, you know, that's where America really gets vulnerable
Yeah.
is when our military slash intelligence doesn't trust each other. And how
So,
could they? How could they
yeah.
possibly?
Did you catch that blurb? It must have been 2, 3 weeks ago about the documented numbers of operatives that were captured and killed had
At,
gone way up during the Trump administration.
during the Trump administration, there was definitely a feel that the only intelligence that leaked wasn't just Khashoggi so that the Saudis could
Right.
carve him up, right? It wasn't just Jared, cutting a side deal to get Khashoggi killed. That there was definitely some other intelligence that was leaked out there because it was beyond coincidence, how many agents got exposed and killed.
Right.
I don't know how
Right.
anyone stays in that job. I don't know how anyone stays in that job in an undercover situation right now. I don't know how they can trust their leadership not to hang them out to dry.
Right.
So I think the U.S. intelligence is going to like close to zero in the next 4 years.
Right. And
Because
what
imagine being on that job and you're trying to dig up stuff on Soviet agents and you can't even send it up. You can't send it upstream because you do, and you're the one that gets cracked down on for finding this shit out, right? Like you're worried your own president, your commander in chief, is a Soviet agent, Soviet sympathizer, Soviet ally, whatever term we want to go with. How do you do your job comfortably? How do you trust that you're going to be kept alive, and how do you be truthful?
and remember there was an unsecure list of agents' names sent through
Yeah,
government
just the other
email.
day, Doji,
Yeah,
Doji
just
had it.
Doji,
Yeah,
yeah.
Doji had it.
I mean that there again, another gleaming example of how inept they are at doing whatever it is they're trying to do. Elon Musk does
Yeah,
not impress me as a brain trust. I mean, they're dumb. They're not
no,
good
he's
at
he's
this.
dangerous. The bloom's got to be off his rose. But I'll tell you this: the like tariffs was a big story today, but also the sense that the international community is just absolutely taking the gloves off and is just coming right at America.
Yep.
Trudeau just eviscerated
Ooh.
Trump slash our country, tried to be nice, quote, to the people. I guess that message was to us. Like, we're still okay. It's just our leaders that suck. But we know what he's really saying is you picked shitty leaders and you're kind of
Right.
fucking up the world. And,
Right.
Europe had started to say that U.S. not an ally. There's rumors of NATO maybe even, kicking the U.S. out of NATO and just going it on their own. I mean, that's off the charts. That changes everything about global political dynamics that we've known in our entire lifetime. But how can you blame them? But the gloves are off. Mexico hasn't even retaliated with their tariffs yet. That's probably coming tomorrow. So, and with some, I'm sure,
Yeah.
harsh words that come with it. So at least internationally, they're kind of going at Trump now, right? Like they're banding together and they're going right at the bully. We have not done it domestically yet.
Right. And here's the thing, and this is when I don't know if the MAGAs are ever going to get it, but like, that 52, 53% of sane America is really going to start to feel what it looks like when the global markets and the global community say, okay, US, you want to go it alone? You go right ahead. Those batteries that we used to get from China for what, $6.99 for a pack of eight? That's probably going to be about $30 now. I mean, the cost of living is going to skyrocket. And I can't wait to see what Trump and Vance have to say about the price of friggin' eggs, when everything else is every way we turn, right? Just our commute is going to get more expensive. Our food is going to get more. Look, Canada has threatened to turn off the heat up in the northern hemisphere of the country, right? That ain't cool for Michigan, right? Upstate New York, Minnesota, all those bordering states.
Isn't it interesting? Like, I had no idea. I had no idea that they were getting electricity and such from Canada, right? The
Oh,
sort of things
yeah,
you just don't know if you don't live there. And these are
right.
just the things that have gone on day in and day out in our lives that we only notice now that they're disrupted, right? We
Yep,
took them for granted, which
yep,
sort of ties into the whole idea of MAGA and Medicaid and things
right,
along those lines where they don't think it's an entitlement, yet it's something they've been getting their whole lives.
right.
They just assume that
It
it's
lowers
something they
the,
should be getting. It's an
yes,
entitlement for the other guy who's sucking off of the system, the lazy black
right,
guy, the welfare queen, right? But for the white guy who's
right.
been in Medicaid, just because they call it something else, they don't even realize that they've been getting all these entitlements their entire lives. And the wake up call is when they start getting peeled away. So they assumed it was just a privilege of living in the United States. That
Right.
was something that just came to them. It wasn't an entitlement. It was just something that you got. It was, what did they didn't know any different. They'd always gotten it. And now it's
And
going to get peeled off. And it's sort of like the electricity in northern New York. I didn't know we were getting them from Canada. So now Canada's mad. And the people are going to be up there freezing their asses off. And
right.
what do we do? Like a propane truck's going to be driving up there and charging them like, $20 an ounce, and
Hey,
people are going to go
get some of
bankrupt
those
just trying to
kerosene
stay
heaters.
warm the last 2 weeks of winter.
Right. Get yourself some kerosene heaters. But here's the deal, though, Brock. This is what made it so easy. It's what made it so easy for Trump to tap in to um, that white angst and anger, right? Say, hey, these folks are going to take this away from you. And all those folks came a running. He hates who we hate. Oh, let's get on board. And that's been the prevailing sentiment that's been driving the thrust of all these cuts and all these. I mean, you see people on social media, you see it, the idiots that come up with these theories of, these government workers don't do anything anyway. Really? Really? You tell that to the 60 some odd people that were on that American Airlines flight that ran into that Black Hawk chopper coming in for approach in Washington, D.C. You tell them these government employees don't do anything, right? You tell us these government employees don't do anything when they figure out exactly how to get us out of a pandemic with an effective vaccine that we now hear people say, "Oh, that thing doesn't work." I don't believe in science. We don't believe in science. I mean, the stupidity. I guess Donald Trump was right when he said he loved the uneducated, right? Because this is how he makes his living. And now you can't make any kind of sense. Like Scott Jennings on CNN, the most smug and just he literally has the most punchable face on television just because of his arrogance and his attitude makes you want to knock the freaking guy out. But I can't, I wish I still watched to watch him contort himself into a pretzel to try to make heads or tails out of this shit, because there's no way you can justify any of these moves, any of these cuts. Why did we need these
You
cuts?
really don't. Mark, the thing that's getting me as listening as you speak is like now we you're saying how Trump it was so easy for Trump to say that he hates the people we hate, but he's also extended it out now to kind of like hating Europe, right? Like, oh, we don't like France, well, we don't like England, right? We don't like Denmark, like all these Poland, right? These are all white countries also, though, right? Where a lot of Americans came from. So, like, first, mad at them. I get it. You can get away with being mad at Mexico because you can tie it into the border and, they're brown. So, like, yeah, you can be. But Canada, I don't get Canada. They're all white. They're farmers and they're oil people, right? Like, and maple syrup, right? And lumber, right? So, like, they're really simpatico with the red states.
Right.
Right? They're very similar economically, but also they're white people. And Americans, how could we not like the Canadians? Right? We're intertwined. We have sports teams that hey, you go play the Raptors in basketball, you play Blue Jays in baseball, the NHL. Like, it's like a part of our sport. We love our sports, right, in America, right? They're like a part of our sports teams. Players get traded back and forth. You don't know if they're with the Winnipeg or on the New York Rangers, right?
Right.
But they're like brothers and they're white. So how do we all of a sudden hate them? To me, of all the othering and starting fights globally and America first, like we're talking that they should become a state because they're like not worthy of their own countryhood.
Right.
You know how big a state it would be, right? It's going to be a state that covers the entire geography of the U.S. Like, it's so fucking stupid, like everything else. But I just think, I feel, maybe I'm being optimistic again. I feel like it's hurting Trump's credibility, even with the hardcore MAGAs, because now he's telling them to hate people that it just doesn't make sense.
No.
I don't think they can't muster up the hate.
No. And how do you square it? How do you get it to make sense? We should hate, call them our little brother or whatever, but they got the richest oil sands in the world out there in Western Canada. It takes a lot to process it and turn it into crude, but it's out there. And we've been taking advantage of it for years. And now you want to screw with these guys? Like, no, there's no fentanyl coming. There's a tiny portion of fentanyl coming in across the Canadian border. Yeah. It's so hard to get across.
No one buys that argument. Yeah.
No one's paying attention to that crap. And plus, nobody wants to walk through 12 feet of snow to try to bring some fentanyl over. You're never going to make it.
Yeah.
You're never going to make it. And if you don't cross at the border, you either freeze in some river or you die in the snow or get covered with an avalanche. But, drug mules just don't find the weather accommodating up there. And it's the ground is frozen year round, so you ain't digging any tunnels. So what are we mad at Canada about? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And when they boo our national anthem, they're booing Donald Trump. It ain't us. They ain't mad at us. They're mad at one dude, one idiot
I think they're trying not to be, but they have to be mad at us because they have to say you guys voted for him. Yeah, right. I mean, you got us into this mess, but Trump can't get us to hate Justin Trudeau. He's just not even a controversial enough guy, a Canadian nice guy. But he's coming out calling Trump stupid and just saying what we're doing is idiotic. So I think it's moved the needle internationally. Like I said before, the gloves are off. Hockey analogy, right? So that, they're going to start punching at Trump. They're less afraid and they're more mad. And they're finding a strength in numbers because they're kind of all doing it. And I think they feel much, no one feels isolated in the criticism. And they're all talking about how they can help each other to offset the negatives that U.S. is bringing on. Yeah. That allyship and those loud voices and that direct message and that direct confrontation hopefully is a model for here in the U.S. because we still don't have enough leadership here going directly at Trump. It was nice to see Warren Buffett make a negative comment, but the business community's afraid to say anything because their mergers might not go through or they may get screwed because they just figure they're going to get screwed over if they say something. So they're useless right now. Um, and the elected leaders just haven't, we've been tracking this the whole time. There hasn't been a clear message, there hasn't been a clear leader, and there hasn't
Yep.
been clear action. So I'm
Unified.
encouraged by that call
Yes.
you were on. I'm encouraged by that call you were on earlier today, and
Yep.
I invite me to the next one. We got to extend that out. Maybe
Ex-
white people can't. Maybe the white people can't lead. Maybe the white people are going to have to be dragged along by your 92 percenters again.
and you know
But I
what
think
that
there's a
means,
lot of us
Brock?
out there.
And that means black and brown men are going to die on the front line fighting white supremacy against the Trump regime that doesn't plan on leaving office. I, you heard it here Tuesday, March 4th at 6:04 p.m. They don't plan on leaving. We're not having another election. And if we do, they got it rigged in their favor. Because you can't tell me, I still am of the belief, well, I've ridden this horse before. They couldn't have won that election out now. But, tonight, we're not going to hear any words of comfort when it comes to the State of the Union. All he can do is BS us, give us the same line of horse shit he's been giving us. And, the worst part about it is half of the room is going to sit there and clap for lies, rumor, innuendo, and scuttlebutt. I mean, it's all going to be bullshit. And and all the Republicans are going to be in lockstep with him. That's the
Do you have
sad part.
any hope? Do you have any hope that a message or a voice or like an aggressive confrontation emerges from the left tonight?
I absolutely do. And because this is the time. This is a perfect opportunity to let the people of this republic know that you care about them and you're fighting for them. Because look, with the Boberts of the world, Marjorie Taylor Greene's, Clyde, whatever the guy's name is from Georgia, look, there is no more decorum. The senators from Louisiana, Foghorn Leghorn, and the other guy, the doctor, like, come on, Kennedy and Cassidy, you know, like all decorum is out the window. There. Look at the people they've put in these key cabinet positions. That tells you right there,
Yeah,
it's a
it's so
clown
bad.
show. Doesn't deserve any respect.
Who are you gonna listen to during the State of the Union? You're gonna scroll Blue Sky. Do you have anyone in particular? I know AOC's doing a live Instagram. Is there anyone in particular or a place you're gonna go to, like the community you're gonna be in during
Yeah,
the State of the Union and after?
I'm going with my Blue Sky people, my Howard University alumni group here in Atlanta, and I'm also going to be going back and forth to Midas Touch, the number one podcast in America right now. So I'll be listening to Midas Touch, AOC's
Are they
live.
doing something? Are they doing something during or after?
I'm not sure.
Are they doing their?
Hey,
Okay.
they're
Okay.
constantly updating, and they are awesome. That's why they're number one,
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
I would
Recognized.
imagine they have to do. Okay, then they're gonna have to do
Yeah,
something right after it ends, right? Like an
yeah.
instant feedback type of thing. Because
Right.
that's what I'm
That's what you do.
interested
Yeah.
in. I also want to see. I'm really interested to see how the different, in essence, how the white people's response is, Black
Yep.
America's response, Latino America's response. Is it the same? Are we, you know?
No, it's not going to be the same now because, Brock, remember, our pockets are not as deep as yours. The average black family has what, 10% of the wealth of the average white family? Like, we're the ones who feel it first. These goddamn tariffs are going to hit black families all over this country harder than you can possibly imagine. 25, 50 cents in gas prices is a budget killer, right? Eggs, forget about friggin' eggs. We're back to the staples. Grits and maybe bacon. It depends on what happens with bacon. Like, I mean, these are the issues, the financial woes, right, always hit the black and brown communities first. That's what we
Mhm.
have to remember, right? White people don't feel it until it gets disgusting, and it never has gotten this bad. This will be the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
time
yeah.
that a lot of white folk feel it.
Yeah, we're pissed that the market's been down for a couple of days, right? I'm not
Yep.
worried about breakfast tomorrow. Yeah, it's
Right?
interesting to see if the reactions overlap. Yeah, it's going to be next 24 hours is going to be hopefully interesting. If it's not interesting, then it's fucking lost, right? If this just rolls by, Trump lies for an hour, people golf clap, and then roll into tomorrow as if it's just another day on the calendar, that's a
Right.
big that's a big problem because I think the American people are waiting for someone to light a match
Well,
and no one's lighting
if that happens, start looking for international realtors. I've
it.
already done some research on Panama. My wife is from there. We can get citizenship. And boy, I could get used to living on the beach year round. And
But
there's no way.
us white people want to be here where the white people dominate. I mean, this is like, come on, you go to some other country and not have like all the perks that we have here. That's the thing. That's
Exactly.
what hopefully is going to get us fighting at some point.
Right. Well, listen, my friend, it has been a great
Oh,
32 minutes. We're going to continue to try to solve the world problems tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat
yeah,
channel.
we'll have our own recap tomorrow. Yeah, so yeah, let's see if we get a message. Let's see
Yep.
if we get leadership. Let's see if there's any kind of call to action, right? The three things that
Right.
we keep tracking and looking and searching for
Right.
so far futilely, but maybe something changes tonight.
Yeah. Let's hope it is must see TV. So says Jasmine Crockett. All right, my friend.
All
Always a pleasure.
right, Mark. Okay,
Have a great night.
take care. Bye bye.
Uh,
Matt.